Hey boys and girls, I hope you guys are doing okay. I had put in the checklist for this week that I would be sharing videos for the next few chapters and then post a quiz for chapters 4, 5, and 6 by the end of the week. However, today is Thursday and I am just now doing those videos. So that's not going to happen. We're going to have to push that back a few days. So I'm thinking Monday or Tuesday I'll post the quiz depending on how far we get. So you guys should be on chapter 4. I sent home chapters 1, 2, and 3 if I remember correctly. It's been a little bit chaotic the last 2 weeks, and I'm, sometimes can't remember exactly what I did, but based on my checklist from last week, that is what happened. So before we move forward to chapter 4, let's go back and remind ourselves what chapter 3 was about. Whenever you're reading a lengthier book such as this, don't ever pick up where you left off without going back to a previous chapter and just making sure you understand where you were. Otherwise, you'll be a bit confused and you may take a page or two to get your brain back on where you were. So in chapter 3, there wasn't a whole lot going on. We know from the picture at the beginning of chapter 3 that Clementine is not very happy. We see that by her body language and her facial expression. And the chapter was basically about Clementine being unhappy that Margaret's mom wouldn't let her play with her. She just felt like there was nothing, that she kept doing something to her hair and that she didn't want them playing together at the moment. So her dad told her he could give her the key to the service elevator and she would, that always made her feel better, to go up and down the elevator that he used because he worked at the apartment building, remember? So she did that, and then she decided that she was going to go up and apologize to Margaret's mom and ask her to please let them play together. And her mom did not, so she ran back home and still feeling a little bit sad. So that was basically what chapter 3 was about. There was a lot more going on, but that was the big idea, right? All right, so for chapter 4, if you do not have your well, actually, you don't have a paper copy. So for chapter 4, you need to just listen. Normally, I would say you need to see the words as you hear the words, but you can't possibly do that today, can you? All right, so chapter 4, all eyes on me, I suppose. I'd better not go to school today, I told my mom on Wednesday as soon as I woke her up. I have cracked toes. I put my foot right up on the pillow next to her face so she could see without getting up. This is called being thoughtful. Nope, she said, without even opening her eyes to see if it was true. Here's the picture that goes along at the beginning of that. You see Mom sleeping and Clementine has her head covered up, right? That's a bit suspicious, I think. Well, that's not all I said. I also have the heartbreak of sore irises. And good readers think, what is that? Well, nope, she said again, and she still didn't open her eyes. Actually, I think I have arthritis, I said. Miss Jacoby was breathing on me in the elevator the other day, and I must have caught it. Oh, please, she said, but this time she opened one eye, and then she made exactly the same sound the polka dotty used to make when she had a hairball. I grabbed the corner of the quilt and covered my head, but my mom pulled it off again. She took my head in her hands and twisted it all around to see the sides, too hard, like I wasn't inside it. Now, here's what she saw. What did Clementine do? She cut off all her hair, right? You've cut off all of your hair, she said. You've cut off all of your beautiful hair. What on earth were you thinking, Clementine? Well, I wanted to make Margaret feel better, I explained. I didn't want her to be the only one, but I forgot. Margaret's not going to school today. She has an appointment at the orthodontist to have bracelets put on her teeth. Mom groaned and closed her eyes again, but she slid over and made room for me on the warm part of her sheets. I climbed in and took a big sniff. My mom's part of the bed smells like cinnamon rolls. My dad's part smells like pine cones. And right in the middle, it's all mixed up perfectly. That's my favorite place to be. But this morning, Dad was already off to fight in the Great Pigeon War, and it was fine just being on the cinnamon roll part. My mom put her arm around me. Oh, so now you'll be the only one, she said. I'm sorry, honey, but you can't stay home. You have to go face the music. All right, so what possibly could that mean? Okay, that's an idiom, okay? You have to go face the music. I want you to think for a bit if you need to stop the video and think and then come back, that's fine. So if you have to go face the music, Mom is basically saying you have to go face the consequences for what you've done, right? So it has nothing to do with music whatsoever. That's called an idiom, right? We've talked about that. And you watched a video about that. So I had to go to school, which almost turned out to be a very bad mistake because I almost had to go to the hospital with the ambulance and the sirens and everything. Good readers should be thinking, what in the world happened? And so that should be creating a bit of suspense so that you want to continue to read. It happened in the principal's office when my teacher sent me there to have a little chat about sitting still. When I walked in, Principal Rice made the hairball sound too. "Clementine," she gulped, "what have you done? You've chopped off your hair." I was glad she'd answered her question so that I didn't have to. "Wow," I said instead. "Clementine and Rice, we both have food names." All right, so this supports, hopefully on your character profile, you have written that Clementine is curious or poor attention span, something like that, and this supports that. She's supposed to be in there talking about her sitting still, but now she's thinking about the fact that she and the principal both have food names, which is completely off topic, right? Miss Rice sealed her lips tight like she was afraid her teeth were going to run away, and then she opened up the note for my teacher. "I can't help it," I said before she could start the little chat. "I'm allergic to sitting still." "Nobody is allergic to sitting still, Clementine," she said. "I am," I said. "My brother is allergic to peanuts. If he eats one, he gets all itchy and swells up and can't breathe right. If I try to sit still, I get all itchy, I swell up, and I can't breathe right. So that means I'm allergic to sitting still." Miss Rice squeezed her eyes shut and rubbed her forehead. "I happen to know this means this idea is so bad it's giving me a headache because it's the face I make when my mother tells me to visit Miss Jacoby. The face never works for me. Plus," I explained, "if my brother eats even one tiny peanut, he might have to go to the hospital with the ambulance and the sirens and everything. So if I sit still for even 1 minute, I gave my body an extra little jiggle just to stay safe. "Phew," I said, "that was close." Principal Rice sighed like a leaky balloon. "Clementine, do you think when you're in class you could just try to wiggle a little more quietly from now on?" I asked my body about this, and it said sure. So I told Miss Rice, "Sure," I said. "Good," she said. "Now, as long as you're here, how about we discuss your hair?" Thinking about my hair made me think about Margaret. Thinking about Margaret made me remember about her getting bracelets on her teeth. I want bracelets on my teeth more than anything. But then I had a bad thought. What if they had pointy edges? I didn't want to have pointy things stuck in my mind and worry me all day. So I looked out of the window because the only way to erase pointy things is with round things. And clouds are good for that. Right away, I saw a cloud that would make a wonderful tattoo. It looked exactly like a dog if dogs had only 2 legs on the top, not the bottom. I am not allowed to have tattoos yet, which is also unfair. So for now, I just draw things on my arm so I don't forget them. But I didn't have a pen. I looked around the desk to see if Miss Rice had a tattoo drawn pen, and suddenly I realized something very suspicious. I had never seen Miss Rice's arms. They were always in Principal's sleeves. "Do you have a tattoo?" I asked. "Well, can I see it?" "What?" Miss Rice asked. "Clementine, we were talking about your hair." "That was a long time ago," I reminded her. I added a kind smile because it's not her fault she has trouble paying attention. All right, so Clementine's the one that has trouble paying attention, right? She's always paying attention to everything other than what she should be paying attention to. So that also supports what we just talked about, her not being, about her being off task or having poor attention or what's another word? Distracted, I guess would be a good word. So she's always distracted by her thoughts, which makes her not pay attention to what she should be paying attention to. So you can add that to your character profile if you'd like, okay? All right, so later on I'll record the next chapter. You can go back and listen to this video a second time if you feel like you need to, just to make sure you've not missed something important. You have a good day, boys and girls. I'll talk to you soon, okay?